Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Wednesday, January 3, 2024. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Over 63,000 active house lot applicants, East Coast Demerara hotspot for new residential lands. Housing Ministry staff fired to be charged for corruption. Government sounds warning to employers who do not remit workers' NIS payments. Roadside vendors in New Amsterdam to be removed this week, and one dead, one homeless as Port MOURANT fire flattens 2 houses. Now for the news in detail. Housing Minister Colin Crowell has disclosed that there are more than 63,000 active applications in the system for house lots across Guyana. In our lead story tonight, Vanu Manikchan reports that as government works to ensure every citizen gets access to affordable housing, most of the new residential lands in Region 4 are being opened up on the east coast of Demerara.
At his ministry's closing press conference for the year 2023 on Wednesday, Housing Minister Colin Crowell disclosed that there were 70,000 pending applications in the system when the People's Progressive Party Civic took office in 2020. He noted that while this figure has been reduced over the past 3 years, the backlog continues to build with new applications.
Active applicants, 63,032. This will be taking all the years into consideration. Right? And I did allude to that there are 13 in this our tenure, there are 13,000 new applicants.
Over the past 3 years, some 30,468 lands were allocated. These include residential and commercial industrialization, as well as regularizations. According to the Housing Minister, a total of 9,612 of these lands were distributed in 2023 alone.
On residential house lots, the type you see by Dream, Realize, etc., that's 28,368 in total. The commercial, residential, commercial, industrial type of activities, that will be 637 plus 22. Regularized lots, meaning persons we had to move and put into areas for regularization purpose, that's another 1,445. This year, right? So if you want to add, the total is 9,612. Residential, 8,578. And then you add the residential commercial type lots, probably another 181, roughly another 860 for regularization. So they've done a lot of work to deal with unregulated area this year, which will take you to 9,612, meaning 32% of the total allocations we have done to date.
Minister Crowell noted that majority of the beneficiaries of these lands distributed by government are females and young professionals. However, the aggressive housing drive by the ministry has seen some areas, such as the East Bank Demerara, being left with no new areas for development. But the housing minister is confident of acquiring more lands to push the PPPC government's manifesto promise of delivering 50,000 house lots in 5 years.
Our recent allocations within the last year or year and a half for Region 4 has been East Coast. That is because East Bank of Demerara, we have allocated or we have reached to the saturation point of our available lands on the East Bank of Demerara. So all the allocations that you've been seeing ongoing are on East Coast for East Coast of Demerara lands. How confident are we in terms of our finding land? We are very confident. And similarly, we have also to come on stream to support our funding would be the access through the Saudi Arabia funding, and that is going through its evaluation stage in terms of the technical side, and then we'll be able to fast track even more infrastructure work to enhance new areas for persons to access.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
The employment of a female staff member at the Ministry of Housing and Water has been terminated, and she is expected to be charged as the ministry works on rooting out corruption within its organization. Subject Ministers Colin Crowell and Suzanne Rodriguez have both urged members of the public to report all verifiable incidents of corrupt practice by staff members. Here is Vanu Manikchand again with the details.
Following a series of allegations against several staff at the Housing and Water Ministry, at least one employee has been fired, according to Minister within the Housing Ministry, Suzanne Rodriguez.
We were able to get evidence on one employee. That's the one that, in relation to the statement I made, she was arrested. She was questioned and I believe put on bail. The last I know is that the file is with the DPP, so I assume the police is waiting for the return of that file before charging her. But that's the last update that I have. But from our side, we have taken definitive action and she has been terminated.
During the ministry's press conference on Wednesday morning, Minister Rodriguez noted that the internal investigation is ongoing and she encouraged persons to come forward, but with credible evidence of these corrupt acts.
We encourage them to provide us with some form of evidence so we can take definitive action in that regard. And just to say as well that many of the people who make complaints or allegations on social media are people who have given somebody, a middleman or a third party, money in exchange for land and have not gotten it. They have not. Because the person they paid does not have the authority to allocate them lands.
Meanwhile, Housing Minister Colin Crowell made it clear that low-level employees are not responsible for the issuance of house lots. He noted that the ministry is dealing with corrupt employees as complaints are received.
As we get the complaints, we address them and we deal with them. There have been, in my recollection, at least two, not for the similar allocation issue, but delinquent and for other issues that we have terminated. For example, we have had one community development staff, or no, enforcement, sorry, who would have said misappropriated the use of his firearm, put it that way. And that staff has been dealt with. So as the direct complaints come, we address them.
Crowell went on to outline that a series of steps have been taken by the ministry to reduce middleman corruption, including pushing for more online transactions.
This we have done, introduced over 2 years ago. So online, for change of your information, inquiries, name it, that can be done online. Secondly, we have put 2 additional staff in front that are taking note of persons who are following up their applications. So when that is finished, weekly, they take a note of those, and weekly that is submitted, and we have to do checks to see if these are all applicants, etc. But at the minimum, we reduce seeing persons because we want the system to work. And that is some of the additional measures we have met.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
The government plans to go out in a week's time and seek proposals for a workable model of how Guyana can most effectively monetize its gas resources. Gerald Bryan tells us more.
Last year, the government had put out its draft gas monetization strategy for public feedback. On Tuesday, President Dr. Finale announced that the government is including the comments it received into the initial strategy.
We are looking now that we have received all the comments in relation to the national gas strategy. We have received all the comments. We are integrating those comments with the initial document.
Moreover, the president announced that the government would soon be putting out requests for proposals on how best to monetize the gas resources.
In another week, we expect to go out to a request for proposal, or RFP, to move towards implementing or move towards looking at models, requesting models through which we can move as quickly as possible to monetizing the total gas asset that we have in our country.
The monetization of Guyana's gas reserves has been described by Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo as a new wave of economic opportunity for Guyana. This is especially since the country has some 17 trillion cubic feet of associated gas. The government has already said that a large number of comments were received on the strategy. Last month, the Vice President had said that all these comments would be included and a total review of the strategy done. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
In light of the current case wherein the National Insurance Scheme has appealed the ruling ordering it to pay an employee his pension even though contributions were not remitted for him, the government is reminding employers of the criminal offense they commit by not remitting their employees his deductions. Here is Jarrell Bryan again with the details.
In November, the High Court ruled that the National Insurance Scheme NIS must pay 60-year-old Sharif Zainul his old age pension. The former Tulsi Prasad employee had contended that he was eligible for pension after making over 750 contributions. Meanwhile, NIS had contended that a number of years' worth of contributions were not remitted to it for the man and have since appealed. On Tuesday, Attorney General and Senior Counsel Anil Nandalal had cause to debunk claims that his chambers filed an appeal. But moreover, he explained why NIS needed to appeal the High Court ruling, noting that if it is allowed to stand, the floodgates will be opened.
If this decision is allowed to go unchallenged, then it would open a floodgate and of where everyone will now sue the NIS and not their employers, and NIS will have to pay. Although NIS did not receive any remissions of the payments actually made by the employees to the employers. So that is the issue. It's not about going after the gentleman's entitlement to NIS. It is about every employee now whose payments were deducted by the employers but not transmitted to the NIS will now have a claim against the NIS. It will bankrupt the NIS.
The AG went on to sound a warning to employers of the need to remit all NIS contributions from their employees to the scheme, lest they be charged with a criminal offense.
We know, you know, that there are many employers who are actually deducting NIS payments from employees but are not remitting those payments to the NIS. And that is an offense. That is a criminal offense under the laws. The employers in this case should have been made a party to the proceedings. They should have been joined as a party, but that did not happen.
Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Sonia Parag will be transferred to the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development as its subject minister. President Dr. Irfan Ali made the announcement last night via a live broadcast to the nation. The Ministry of Public Service, which Parag previously headed, will now fall under the ambit of Dr. Ashni Singh, senior minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance. For some time now, the Ministry of Local Government was being managed by Anand Prasad, who is a minister within the ministry. The ministry's previous subject minister, Nigel Dharamlal, had resigned from the position in July 2023. Dharamlal, who was also a member of parliament, was replaced by Nandrani Kunja in the National Assembly. It was announced on July 4, 2023 that Dharamlal had resigned following allegations of rape that were leveled against him. Subsequently, however, that complainant declined to pursue the matter. The victim had given a no further action statement to investigators in the presence of one of her parents and a representative of the Child Care and Protection Agency. This had led to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Shalimar Ali Haq, SC, advising the police not to proceed with the case. Coming up, man shot dead, baby injured, 19-year-old suspect wanted, and mother, 4 children homeless after fire destroys home. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Wash bay operators, are you looking for that unique service to elevate your business? Well, come on down to your #1 industrial store, Sylvie's, and invest in an undercarriage pressure washer tool. That's right, impress your customers by now washing under their vehicles easy and efficiently with an undercarriage tool. We have in stock different types that offer a wider range of services and can increase your revenue without having to invest in expensive ramps. Your customers are going to leave satisfied. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High in Hatfield Streets location, we can deliver in and around Georgetown. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvie's Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
To tell you about my mom and how I lost her, it was a very hard reality for me.
I met Crystal through a friend who asked me to speak to her. The first time I saw her, my spirit just took a liking to her. I see Crystal as my daughter. I haven't given birth to Crystal, but I feel as if I do.
I felt alone. I got the support I needed from her.
I understand that Crystal was a lesbian. I choose to accept and embrace and love everybody. I'm a Christian and I believe we are all God's children. God loves everyone. It's about time we all get educated enough to know that, you know what, everybody is just the same human.
She never questioned it. She just supported me right through it.
So I see her as a young woman full of potential. Crystal and every gay and lesbian person should be treated with respect in Guyana.
GECOM is currently conducting a claims and objections exercise to produce an official list of electors, OLE. Anyone who will be 18 years or over by December 31, 2023 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more is eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GECOM has posted a preliminary list of electors, PLE, at popular locations in all the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether your particulars or that of other electors are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Monday, the 22nd of January 2024. For more information, contact GECOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Transitions Light Intelligent Lenses. Pick your color. Choose your style. Available at Optique Vision Care.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Tommy Roberts, a 35-year-old farmer of Wanakai Village, Northwest District, Region 1, was on New Year's Day chopped to death. The suspect has since been apprehended. Police said at around 19 hours on the day in question, the victim and suspect were imbibing in the village when an argument arose between them. Roberts was reportedly in the process of walking away when the suspect armed himself with a cutlass and started to chop him about his body. Roberts attempted to run away but could not evade his attacker. He collapsed a short distance away. The matter was reported to the police and ranks from Mabaruma Police Station immediately responded. They coordinated with members of the Wanakai Community Policing Group and after a relentless search managed to apprehend the suspect who had fled the scene and was hiding in some thick vegetation within the village. We now report that a 19-year-old suspect is wanted in connection with the murder of a 29-year-old man, which occurred at around 20 hours on New Year's Eve at Lot 10, Graham's Hall, East Coast, Demerara. Dead is Anthony Haynes, also known as One Natty, who was said to be a member of a gang. Haynes resided at Graham's Hall with his reputed wife and their 2-month-old baby. The man's partner told police that on the day in question, she was in the kitchen while Haynes was in the living room holding their baby while conversing with the 19-year-old 17-year-old suspect. The woman said that sometime later she heard Haynes telling the teenager to stop playing with the gun. Subsequently, however, a loud explosion was heard and the baby started to cry. Upon checking, the woman saw Haynes motionless in a chair with a gunshot wound to his chest and the baby in his arms. The suspect, she said, was standing over him with a gun in his hand. In a statement, police detailed that the suspect then took the dead man out of the house and onto the road at Crown Dam Industry, East Coast Demerara, where he covered him with a sheet and left him there. Meanwhile, medical attention had to be sought for the baby for a wound to her right shoulder. A 25-year-old miner of Santa Cruz Village, Northwest District, Region 1, on Monday afternoon drowned while swimming in the Barima River. Dead is Owen Mohammed Obermuller, who was intoxicated at the time of swimming in the river. The man's reputed wife told police that on the day in question, at around 8 hours, the man had left home and he returned until 15 hours 55 under the influence of alcohol. According to the reputed wife, Obermuller told her that he was going to take a bath in the river, but the woman said she told her husband to get out of the river as the water level was high. However, the man ignored her warnings and dived under the water, but never resurfaced. The woman said she immediately raised an alarm and persons within the area responded by combing the river, but did not locate him. However, at around 7 hours 30 on Tuesday, the man's body was found. The body is currently at the Maruca District Hospital's mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, a single mother and her 4 children are now homeless after a fire destroyed their home at Yarrow Cabra, Linden Sioux Dyke Highway. Ovina Brathwaite lived in the 1-story, 2-bedroom wooden structure with her children aged 13, 11, 8, and 5. The fire erupted at around 18 hours last evening while the children were making dinner. Reports are that Brathwaite was taking a nap while the children were making something to eat on a kerosene stove. However, the flames reportedly ignited a nearby curtain, causing the fire. The woman and her children escaped the burning building, but they were unable to save any of their belongings. Brathwaite, who was born with a disability, does not work. She uses her public assistance funds to care for herself and her family, including to send her children to school. Neighbors would also assist the family from time to time. Currently, a pensioner who lives alone in the village has offered shelter to the family. Andrew Carmichael joins us now to report that a massive fire at Port Mourant, Berbice, Region 6, which lasted for some 2 hours, has resulted in the death of a man and the destruction of 2 houses. Here are the details.
The dead man has been identified as 43-year-old Tukant Diokaran, who was a teacher at Berbice Islamic School. Diokaran lived alone in a 1-story house at Port Mourant, Berbice, which was owned by an overseas-based Guyanese. Tuesday night's fire also destroyed a 2-story building owned and occupied by 75-year-old Amrita Bacchus, leaving the pensioner homeless. Residents say flames were initially seen coming from Diokaran's home at about 22 hours. In a statement on the incident, the fire department said it was alerted of the fire at 22:17 hours and 2 water tenders and 7 firefighters were deployed. It took about 2 hours to bring the blaze under control. Safraz Bikam said he was alerted by the sound coming from the burning building.
We see fire pour out on the house. After the noise make, and we hear and we peep out and we watch around 10 o'clock. And people start rush out, and then the other neighbor, the old lady house there, I start shout, and then the neighbor run out and then get them out of the house. Fire start blaze. Right then the firefighter then come. But when they come, the truck can't get access to come in the street because the market stand there, but then people get there, Hamburg the whole issue. Because been a one difference in if the truck when I come in. Because couple watch out from road to run in the hose, fire can't handle the fire.
Emily Duncan said she was nearby when she saw flames lighting up the sky.
When I come, it didn't really completely burn or nothing. It was just to the middle part, and standing, it ended up burning down, and then it catch the next house next door.
When you came, the fire tender was already here?
No, they came like 10 minutes after we came, or like 10 minutes after.
What they did when they came?
They were trying to locate water, and then they end up, somebody tell them there's a hydrant way up by the gas station, and then they end up start carrying the hose up the way to try to get the water.
Between the time they came and they actually started dosing the flame, you have any average how much time it took?
It took well like 3/4 hour. Yeah, about that. Because to get the water was a problem. When that second house started, the water still wasn't there because they had to set up the pump. Everything took a little while.
The teacher's charred remains were discovered just after midnight. It was found close to the back door, which was said to have been locked, according to one of the firefighters at the scene.
The way the thing go off, like some gas or something blew up. Because when you hear the noise after that fire start pour out, nobody can get into it. And that's it.
So you heard an explosion first?
Perfect, yeah. And then the light start blinking, everything put off.
Meanwhile, Bacchus, who was rescued from the home after residents broke the lock on the door and pulled her out, said it was only in November that she renovated and repainted the interior of her house. She said there was a new washing machine which was still in the box. An investigation into the cause of the fire has been launched. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Vendors who are currently operating along the road shoulders in New Amsterdam, Berbice, are going to be removed this week, the Town Council has announced. Here are the details from our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael.
The New Amsterdam Town Council says the roadside vendors were given until January 2nd to remove their structures. Foreman of the engineering department, Charles Johnson, says the structures have been creating hindrances to the municipality's drainage cleaning exercise. Addressing the media at a press conference on Wednesday, the municipal official said derelict vehicles will also be removed.
We are going to be shortly rolling out a campaign to have those removed. Once it's removed, some will be destroyed. The others, you'd have to pay a fine in order to recover same.
Johnson pointed out that the campaign will commence in January and run until March of this year, and will first target Strand and then move to Main Street and then Republic Road.
Those are the three main areas that we'll be tackling immediately. However, this campaign is going to roll out to parts of Stanleytown and other parts of the town. Persons selling greens and other perishable goods, they're asked, they were also given notices to return to the market as of January 2, 2024. So at the same time that we're dealing with this drainage project, we'll also be, having those persons removed and, brought back into the market. Again, if they are, if they have stalls or other structures on the reserve, those will be removed. I think the appropriate time for selling would be any time after the market closes, which would be 4:30 in the afternoon. Persons can vend those various items, but in the interim, or during the day, which would be 6 to 4:30, that would not be permitted, within the boundaries of the town.
This is not the first time that the New Amsterdam municipality has planned to make such a move. It has almost become an annual affair, and within weeks the situation returns to what it was prior. Johnson has promised that this time it will be different.
What happened, over the past years, I think enforcement was an issue. So this year we actually put together a team that would deal with the ongoing enforcement of these policies. So when we've actually rolled out and a person removed, we have a special team that will be, doing daily checks and daily inspections to ensure that, persons are not, vending where they're not supposed to, and during the times that, that are not allotted. Also, what the other alternative method that will be put in place this year is that the council would actually be realizing the night market. That would be a site that will be set up specifically for selling after the market hours or after the market is closed. So these are some of the measures that we're looking to implement to see the success of this program.
The engineering department's foreman pointed out that under the law, his department has the authority to remove any encumbrance which affects drainage in the town. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Works are progressing on the new Diamond Regional Hospital, and according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, the facility should be functional by the end of the year. Find out more in this Lawanda McAllister report.
Approximately 40,000 residents will benefit from improved access to the healthcare services being provided at the brand new Diamond Regional Hospital as construction is well advanced. On Tuesday, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony visited the construction site to check the progress of the project.
We have just come off the foundation. We are now putting up the uprights, and by the end of next month we should have all of the frame in place. So we're going on target in terms of the timing, and I'm assured that by the end of the year that the hospitals should be fully functional.
The hospital will have a 24-hour accident and emergency department as well as a 24-hour lab. It will also be equipped with operational theaters and surgical theaters as well as a minor theater. There will also be outpatient and inpatient facilities.
In addition, we'll have a complete area for imaging, and it's not only going to be digital x-rays, but in each of these hospitals we'll have CT scan. So the quality of imaging would improve, because at most of our regional hospitals right now we have been using x-rays and ultrasounds. So we are now complementing that by adding CT scans, which is a big improvement.
This hospital is one of 6 regional facilities under construction across Guyana that is part of the greater goal of improving the access and quality of healthcare services nationwide. The other locations are Lima, Dikendron, Enmore, Bath, and Skeldon. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic on Thursday, January 4th, 2024 at 23 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 10 hours on Thursday, January 4th, 2024, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Hackett credits hard work, commitment in GDF's championship win, and Barcelona shines at New Year's Day meet. Details of these stories in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Superbet, your best bet. With many agents countrywide, our products are easily accessible. Visit an agent nearest to you to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
It's a new day with Shilling Oil. A unique blend of natural oils to help ease and soothe the day-to-day discomforts of life. Get relief from muscle and joint pain, headaches, and congestion. Shilling Oil lets you get back to the things you love doing most. Water relief with Shilling Oil. Distributed by Massey Distribution.